Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Radha Govinda. How are you?
Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Anjana चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः मुखाकरोति वाचालं पङ्गोरं गायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदिनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरं नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते जयपताकस्वामिनिति नामिने नमाचार्यपादाय निताय कृपप्रदायिने गौरकथादामदाय नगरग्रामतारिणे नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते वेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशने श्रीचैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासरि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So we're reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2.
Can you improve the sound? Because some of it is going high and then going low. It's not consistent. It's not too bad, but it could be improved a little bit.
Okay. I can try. I think it's just the fan. If I reduce the fan, I'm not at home actually. I'm traveling, so
It's not too bad now, actually.
Okay. Okay. I actually had the screen up, but okay, good.
There's an echo. Sorry, there's an echo.
I need to share. It's showing. There's a screen showing.
No, it says it's starting. It started, but that's it.
Yeah.
Can't see anything.
It's not showing. Okay, so last two discussions we were unable to broadcast it due to different technical reasons. So what we will do is do it again. I mean, do it again, meaning we'll just go over the basics and then, today we are live streaming it on YouTube and then we'll discuss. So you see that whole second chapter, the crucial point comes when Arjuna has that mood, the change, and I was memorizing these two words like the Sanskrit Karpanya dosho pahata svabhavaha rachami tvam dharma sammoda chetah yatresya nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham sadimam tvam prapannam. That verse in English, to remind the mind, basically the small short format. Each way I lose, I'm so confused. I need some help from you. Just take me as an empty slate and tell me what to do. How many times in our life we come there, right? Just trying to memorize that, and I'm like, I want this thing to always be in my head. Each way I lose, I'm so confused. I need some help from you. Just take me as an empty slate and tell me what to do, Krishna. So this is this is a shift when Arjuna gets into the trauma and confusion, which is not a bad thing for a devotee. Confusion, sadness, it can actually turn us more towards Krishna.
Mm.
So yeah, that's the shift that happens. And then Krishna basically says, such attitudes and platitudes are pouring from your head, and cooler people never blame the living nor the dead. So that's when the shift happens, and then he basically preaches summer and winter. And then we studied that verse. Let me again try to log in and join, because I really want to share the screen with the verses.
The last verse was which one?
Sorry, say that again.
The last verse you just said. Which one was it?
The one, Karpanya Dosha one?
Yes.
15.
Can you? 15. Thank you.
We have a neighboring dog always barking. Trying to. Okay, I'm trying to restart it. Yeah, Karpanya Dosha is the text number 2. Matra Spashastu is 14. Karpanya Dosha is 7, I think. So yeah, 7. 2.7 is Karpanya Dosha verse. Why does it say that? I'm struggling to connect my iPad to the thing to show the verse on the screen. So that's nice.
Yeah, but even if you just don't worry, even if you just speak it and let us know which verse it is, then that's fine. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, Karpanya Dosha verse is very, very.
The meanings. I really like the way you said the meaning of the last one. I've forgotten it already.
I think we should all memorize that, because Arjuna is basically confused, right? And he's saying, if I kill them, I'm going to feel terrible. My hands will be tainted with blood, and even if I win the whole world, I won't be able to enjoy it. It's a loss. And then if I don't fight, then I'm going to reach infamy, and everybody is going to just frown at me, and everybody's just going to insult me. So he says, both way I lose. So he says, each way I lose. I'm so confused. I need some help from you. Just take me as an empty slate and tell me what to do. Such simple words, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the word, very clear, important word is the very important word is empty slate. See, I was contemplating on that. The whole rest of the verses which follows after this, it's very much related, like 11 to 25 when Krishna speaks. All those verses are very much connected to that empty slate, meaning if we want Krishna's help, I need to be open. I need to be that empty slate. I can't just think I know the best, I know what to do, and then I want Krishna to do it for me. That's not what it is. So Arjuna has accepted that powerlessness. I'm confused. I'm so confused. Each way I lose, I'm so confused. I need some help from you. Just take me as an empty slate and tell me what to do. It's like rhyming, right? It's easy for the mind to remember.
Yeah.
Tell me what to do.
You're making it light.
No, I mean, it's like, whoa, I reached that point so much. Even right now in my life, I'm in the stage of saying, I'm trying to keep my slate empty, right? But then keep desires and needs and plans, things keep coming back, and I just need to keep emptying out the slate and saying, Krishna, please take me as an empty slate and tell me what to do. I need some help from you. I'm so confused. Each way I lose. If I do this, I'm gonna lose. If I do that, I'm gonna lose. So the only way is to take shelter of you, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, even this we did it, such attitudes, and Krishna says to Arjuna, right, that such attitudes and platitudes are pouring from your head, meaning my solutions to life is all pouring from my head. And I'm not supposed to, because usually I think if I do this, I'll be happier. If I do that, I'll be happier. And then Krishna says, an honest look at life makes seers of the truth proclaim. Mundane plane does not remain, but the spirit stays the same. So making decisions based on this week, the theme of this week, Gita Connection, is making decisions. How do we make decisions based on what Krishna's will is? How do we do that? So this is again, the answers are again given in the beginning of the second chapter, when Krishna answers, 11th verse onwards, and he says all these things about when you can tolerate both happiness and distress, which me and you read that verse, Deepa, but we didn't record it. Right? Nobody else was there, so that's that verse. I think we should go through that verse. It's worthy again to go over that and remember the rhyming words. Yeah, I mean, we did all these beautiful verses. Dehinosmin yatha dehe. We did how we are not the body. We moved through the bodies, of boyhood to youth to old age. So the 14th verse, this is the matras prashastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkada agama paini nityastam stitikshasva bharata. So I'm going to say that in the simpler version of it. And you can tolerate both tribulation and elation, you're stable and enabled to savor liberation. This is like a simple version of that verse. If we can learn to tolerate happiness and distress and understand that it's just like summer and winter, and we can, it'll appear and disappear, just like the seasons. And they arise only from sense perception. So we must tolerate that without being disturbed, and that makes us enabled to approach liberation. I like that analogy with the weather, because we go through that, right? I mean, in England, right? Prabhupada even said it's just so cold in England. He said, England, somebody asked Srila Prabhupada, do you believe in hell? And Prabhupada was in London at that time. So then he said, London is hell. Because it was so freezing cold. And right? So it's like we go through that seasons, summer and then winter, and then May and June is so hot, but it's a sense perception. So similarly, difficulties and happiness and something I like, something I don't like, it's coming from sense perception. It should not be taken too seriously. I can't run my life. I can't make my decisions based on what feels good. That's the point of this week theme, is how do I distinguish between making decisions based on how it feels and making decisions based on wisdom, based on Krishna's will, Krishna's.
How would you know? How would you know that the decision you make is just on sense?
Consequences. I was reading another Bhagavatam verse today, and then I think I should read that verse. Let me just I think it is, I'll go here and that verse. Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 17, 1.17.32. In that, very clearly, something is very interesting there. It's just opening up. It's about dharma. It's about how do we distinguish if we are doing religious principles or not. Because religious principles are not just about wearing tilak and wearing a certain kind of clothes and just chanting certain mantras. It's not just that. Okay.
But
So in that
most of
verse,
the time, most of the time, the decisions we make are, isn't it, on senses. That's the way we know this feels good, this doesn't feel good, and that's what we go on all the time. But that's the body, right? It's the mind, not the soul.
the mind, yeah, the mind.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I mean, like this verse is very interesting. The Bhagavatam religion urges following the principles of religion. The principles of religion are not dogmas or regulative principles of certain faith. Such regulative principles may be different in terms of time and place concerned. One has to see whether the aims of religion have been achieved. See, again, aims of religion have been achieved. Same thing. If I go by sense perception in this purport, not 2.14, Prabhupada is speaking about a woman. She doesn't hesitate to cook in the kitchen in the months of May and June, the hottest part of the summer season. One has to execute his duty in spite of climatic inconveniences. So that verse connected here, right? The principle is I need to be fed. I need to eat, right? That's the principle.
Yeah.
So in the end, we have to see if the aims of religion have been achieved. So similarly, making decisions in life, it's not just, oh, I have to send the kids to this particular school, I have to behave in this way, I have to associate with these kind of people. Those are not those are details. But what is the principle? What is the principle behind which you're making a decision? For example, let's say I need to make a decision about where to live. So the principle is I need a secure environment where I'm going to grow materially and spiritually. If that is the principle, it doesn't matter but this religious organization costs this much, or I mean, those are big details again. Or this institution that I want to join gives me more money, or this institution is less money for sending the kids to school, or this neighborhood has more parks in it. I'm just giving very, very random examples here. So if I go by details, then I will get caught up in the sense perception. But if I go by principles, principles of what is important for me, association. So who am I going to be with becomes more important than other facilities, for instance, whatever it may be, parks, how close the school is, or whatever. Principle and detail are sometimes very like devotion. Every day, I like, for example, okay, I want to do prayers every day. If the principle is I want to connect to God, let's say, and the detail might be I need to offer flowers in the altar, I have to offer incense in the altar, I have to offer yoga, I have to wear tilak, I have to wear certain kind of clothing. Okay, these are like details. But the principle is I need to connect to God.
Right.
So sometimes we get so lost in details that we forget the principle.
Yeah. So basically, stay with the principle.
Yeah, we should stick to the principle. We have to keep reminding ourselves that what is my principle. That's what we're studying in this section where Krishna is again and again telling Arjuna, when you can see the spirit soul is indestructible, why would you think you kill someone or cause someone to kill? So here the principle is spirit soul is permanent. Spirit soul is never killed. Spirit soul can never be wet. Spirit soul can never be destroyed. You can never insult the spirit soul, etc., etc. So why are you? He's asking Arjuna, why do you think that you're going to kill somebody or get killed by somebody or cause somebody to kill? So details is who kills who, right? On which day? These things are details. But the principle is I can never be killed or nobody can be killed. I'm a spirit soul. Everything changes, you see. When the principle are understood that I'm not even this body that I'm identifying with, all my problems becomes it's very trivial. It's very insignificant in front of the bigger truth. The bigger truth is actually doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I light the incense or not, because incense becomes a detail in front of me, kneeling down in front of God and asking Him to help me. Some people are so, I know some people like that, so attached to having the incense, having the lamp, having the flowers, having the specific thing, that they think that without those things you can't connect to God. And then I remember, sometime we asked that devotee, and that devotee was like, no, I couldn't today. I could not do it because the incense was not there. This thing was not there. That thing was not there. I mean, this is a very extreme example, but sometimes we do that with our life.
Yes.
We put everything on hold because our detail is not figured out. We don't have the detail that we're looking forward to.
But with you, I see that you check yourself often on this point. When you reply and when you're often with what is the principle, and not get stuck with the little details. And when you're asked questions, the way you answer them is very good, because we go back to the principle. Yeah.
I mean, some of us are very good with principle, some of us are very good with detail. Both are necessary. It should go hand in hand. For example, to connect with Krishna through the holy name, it is important that I pick up my bead bag and put my hand inside in the proper way and roll the beads in the proper way. That's a detail on many levels.
Yeah.
But the detail is necessary to reach the principle, to reach that goal. But when this Bhagavatam verse says, but is that goal reached? Have I got the consequence of the result that I'm looking for? So when I'm holding this and chanting, is my consciousness on Krishna, or am I just thinking, I need to pull more of these beads and finish my round today, right? That's what mostly happens to me.
Oh, most of us. Yeah.
But the thing is, in that case, at least get the detail done. Sometimes I cannot just say, the principle is to connect with Krishna. I'm not feeling today, so I won't chant.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens to me a lot. I'm telling myself, no, but I'm not so connected. So no, that's like an escapism, right? It's not a wise thing. But
when that sort of thing is happening, sometimes I do kind of then sit in meditation, and I get back then, because I'm overloaded, and so I'm going to be in that state. So I just sit still for a little while and have a little time to myself, and then I can say, okay, I don't feel like it. What's happening here? Yeah. And then once I've had spent a little bit of time, I can free myself and say, okay, I can get back to it after I finish the chanting.
Yeah.
It's almost like you have to nurture your mind, isn't it?
Nurture your mind. That's a good word. So here, we did that 14th one, Matra Prashasta Kanthaya, and Prabhupada gives that example. So, and then next verse, we should read the next verse. See, we'll kind of go back and forth in this section because a lot of these verses are interconnected. The 15th verse, translation, 2.15. O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. That's what we read here. You're stable and enabled to save a liberation. Purport. Anyone who is steady in his determination for the advanced stage of spiritual realization and can equally tolerate the onslaughts of distress and happiness is certainly a person eligible for liberation. Yeah, and then Prabhupada is speaking about relationships and how difficult it is to get out of relational expectations and duties and kind of renounce finally. And Srila Prabhupada speaks about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who at the age of 24, he took sannyas, and so he got rid of the material bondage. See, for us, this verse is very relevant, but in a different way, because for us, renunciation is not so much to do with giving up home and going away. It's more about being in home and giving up our expectations that other people will take care of our feelings and needs. And because a lot of people, even having husband or children or parents or whatever, we don't have our needs fulfilled, right? And some people don't have, and they may think, oh, if only I had a husband, they will take care of my needs. But those who have a husband, they know that no, the husband doesn't take care of your needs.
Yeah.
So in case of, for us, renunciation begins with lowering our expectations, reducing our sense of an entitlement, saying, I must be taken care, I must have these things given to me. That is renunciation for us. That's an everyday process. Doing our duty. Because
Sorry, what was that? Renunciation is what did you just say? I really like that. It's giving up expectation.
yeah,
It's
lowering. I mean, giving up is a long term. It's not an overnight thing, obviously.
Okay, lowering expectation.
We can start with lowering our expectations.
Yeah.
Also with
I
ourselves.
really like that verse, as like I was saying last time, it really has helped me, because when I understood that and when I realized, that's when it really came home to me, not to get too distressed, so that go in the either way, and yeah, so I really like it. It kind of really balances you,
Yeah, to not expect happiness all the time and to not run away from distress, but to kind of see the Lord's hand in both and tolerate that happiness also. Not become too excited. Like, sometimes a lot of people may come and say, oh, you gave such a nice class. So if I enjoy that too much, then next time nobody comes and tells me that, there's a lot of suffering.
Right. Is that what the word tolerant meant? Because we were trying to work this out, weren't we? Yeah.
Attachment. Again, it's about attachment, expectation. So the more I become attached to praises, right, I'm going to suffer when there are no praises, and I'm going to suffer when there is criticism. But if I'm going to tolerate that praise, then it's easier to tolerate the criticism.
Yeah.
And then, okay, and then the 16th verse. Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that that of the non-existent there is no endurance, and of the existent there is no cessation. These seers have concluded this by studying the nature of both. So there, Prabhupada says, there is no endurance of the changing body. That the body is changing every moment by the actions and reactions of the different cells is admitted by modern medical science. And thus growth and old age are taking place in the body. But the spirit soul exists permanently, remaining the same despite all changes of the body and mind. That is the difference between matter and spirit. By nature, the body is ever changing and the soul is eternal. This conclusion is established by all classes of seers of the truth, both impersonalist and personalist. In the Vishnu Purana, it is stated that Vishnu and his abodes all have self-illuminated spiritual existence. Jyotimsha Vishnu, Bhavanani Vishnu. The word existent and non-existent refer only to the spirit and matter. That is the version of all seers of truth. This is the beginning of the instruction by the Lord to the living entities who are bewildered by the influence of ignorance. Removal of ignorance involves the establishment of the eternal relationship between the worshipper and the worshipable, and the consequent understanding of the difference between the part and parcel living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One can understand the nature of the Supreme by thorough study of oneself. The difference between oneself and the Supreme being understood as the relationship between the part and the whole. In the Vedanta Sutras, as well as in Srimad Bhagavatam, the Supreme has been accepted as the origin of all emanations. Such emanations are experienced by superior and inferior natural sequences. The living entities belong to the superior nature as it will be revealed in the 7th chapter. Although there is no difference between the energy and the energetic is accepted as the supreme, and energy or nature is accepted as the subordinate. The living entities, therefore, are always subordinate to the Supreme Lord, as in the case of the master and the servant, or the teacher and the taught. Such clear knowledge is impossible to understand under the spell of ignorance. And to drive away such ignorance, the Lord teaches the Bhagavad Gita for the enlightenment of all living entities for all time. So this is still text number, all those things. So text number 15. So, I mean, there are many points here. This thing that this is the beginning of instruction by the Lord to the living entities who are bewildered by the influence of ignorance. So, like, no matter how many changes I make to my body, my social status, right? Unless and until we establish a relationship with the Lord, then the relationship with the spirit soul, I mean, our own relationship with ourselves, as it's Prabhupada later on says that the way to understand the Supreme Lord is thorough understanding of ourselves, oneself. Because as long as I identify myself as this body, everything is very limited. But the moment I understand myself as a spirit, soul, and my relation, and then everything I see will be in relation to with Krishna, then everything changes.
So thorough knowledge of oneself is the beginning, is it?
Yeah, that's the goal of Bhagavad Gita, right? Self-realization.
Yeah.
And that's why again, honesty comes again. The honest look at life makes seers of the truth proclaim. You know, honest look, we need to honestly look at ourselves and see where we are at. And we need to understand that all the mundane experiences will never remain. But I, as a spirit, remains the same, no matter I mean, it's so like the other day I was in a temple and the pujari was doing some Navagraha Homa. He was doing some kind of pacifying the planets because the family was going through some difficulty, probably. He stood them, right? The husband and wife was there and the child was there. And I was in front of the Lord. I was in South India. This Balaji deity and the pujari told them, hold this. And they were all like this standing. So your name and your like the bodily identity. He was saying you are from this name, you're from this family, or this is your nakshatra. We are in the Bharata Khanda, we are in the Bharata Varsha, we are in India, we are in this subcontinent, and we are in the Jambu Dvipe, we are in this section of the universe. Like he was giving them the broader identity of them, because they are identified with themselves as that person, that body, and then the family, and then that city, and then that country, right? Like that. Then at the end, he was not at the end, during the puja, he was looking at them and saying, look, you are his wife this lifetime only for a few years now. He is your husband only for the short period until you have this body, until you have this thing. So this relationship you have is temporary. He was very nicely explaining. He wasn't like discouraging them.
Yeah.
And he was just saying, and this child of yours happens to be your child in this life. But these are not the relationships that you're eternally going to be involved in there. And he was showing the Lord, and he was telling these people, that is your eternal relationship. That is a relationship which is never going to be severed. That is the relationship that no astrological planets, no astrological times can ever get in the way of. And that is the person that we are doing this yajna for, so that he can remind you that all these relationships are temporary. All your problems that you're facing is just for now. And the permanent. Sorry. So the disappearance and appearance of relationships, right? In this verse, what was Prabhupada saying? The eternal relationship between the worshipper and the worshipable. So to understand myself, these relationships, husband and wife and friends and children, they are only an instrument. They are only a means for me to experience Krishna, to experience and establish my relationship with Krishna. Without, Shrama eva hi kevalam perform without invoking all waste. So these relationships, whether positive or negative, if it evokes my devotion for the Lord, it is success. It's a success. Through good experiences in these relationships, I'm experiencing Krishna. In let's say when we hug a child, when we get hugged by our parents, and we get all in that moment, we are essentially experiencing Krishna. This is the reality. This is the truth. It's the eternal absolute truth. And through
is it our attachment to everything that stops us feeling like that and thinking like that?
well, of ignorance.
Oh, you're freezing up.
My video is, my internet is,
Second time that's happened. Yeah.
my internet is little slow. So Krishna says it's due to ignorance, primarily because we do not know. Like this couple was being given that philosophical talk, right? Nowadays, people are not interested in philosophy. They think whatever it is, 60, 70 years of my life is what they think is everything. They do not recognize beyond that, beyond the relation with the husband, beyond the relation with the children. They do not recognize there's something beyond. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, people generally don't want to know. I think that priest was very brave.
I mean, it's the duty of a Brahmana to remind people that their eternal relationship is with the Lord, and their identification with the day-to-day problems is not the goal of life. To solve them is not the purpose of life. It is a duty of the Brahmana to remind them. It's interesting, right? We have come to a place, I'm in South India, we've come here for some treatment for my husband, like that. And so my while I'm talking about this broader concepts, usually I'm very particular which room I get, which bed I get, which side of the thing. So we are in this little cottage house. So, and then when my husband was like, which room do you want? Which side of the bed do you want? Which side of the room do you want? And I'm like, not talking about all this, it doesn't matter, whatever, my eternal relationship with Krishna doesn't matter on which room I get. So it's like that, sometimes it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter these things, which we make it as a very big deal.
But then again, that's because we keep thinking about just the body. The comfort of the body.
You asked something else, right? I said one of the reasons is ignorance. And then you asked, is it also? Yeah, it's first is ignorance. See, ignorance is the basic. Because of ignorance, I think I'm the body. Because of ignorance, I think that my relationship in this world is long lasting. Right? I mean, this verse in Bhagavatam, Santam samipe ramanam rati pradam pita pradam nityam imam vihaya akamadam dukha bhayadi shoka moha pradam tuchamaham raji. This is Pingala. She was actually a prostitute who became a great devotee. So she says that I have been so ignorant that I have neglected the Supreme Lord who was in my heart, who was waiting to have a relationship with me. And I kept looking for insignificant relationships. I was trying to look for different men to provide me that security, that protection, that connection. But ultimately, what I got from those men is only misery, sadness, disappointment, and hurt. And then I have been neglecting the relationship with the Lord who is so close to me. So this is a condition of every jiva. It's not a prostitute. It's all of us that the chastity begins with us realizing. One of my teachers often says that even in astrology, the point is not our relationship with our family is not the point. Our relationship with our family is to help us experience Krishna through them. It's so beautiful when you see it that way. And so it doesn't matter at the end of the day or whatever, for a girl who wants to get married, it's not, oh, should I marry this guy who's earning this much? Should I marry that other guy who's in this position? No, those are not the important considerations. Whoever you marry, the point is you should experience Krishna through that person. That's the thing, experiencing human love, and so that you actually get in touch with that. Also, both, what Krishna is saying here, both sides of the reality. One side of the reality is there are positive things in a relationship. There is love, there is affection, there is connection, there is friendship. But then there is also the limitation, there is misery, there's disappointment. That side is also important to experience, because through that we can easily get in touch with Krishna. Because we know that Krishna is not an ordinary human being. He is the Santam Samipe Ramanam Rati Pradam, so close to us. He's so close. He's sitting in our heart.
Yeah. It's our most important relationship, and yet we don't give it very much.
It's like the engine room. Our relationship with Krishna is that engine room. If I neglect the engine room and I keep looking at every other compartment and trying to take care of every other compartment, but if I don't put my energy in the engine room, the train is not going to move. All these engine rooms are going to get disconnected. Every other room, the parents, the spouse, the children, friends, everybody, all of that is going to get away from us. The only thing will at the end remain is the engine room. That's the Guru and Krishna room. That's a connection room. And then we keep repeating, right? Life after life, where Krishna is speaking all these verses from 17 onwards, which we'll look at it on Thursday. But you are not once have you, the soul, been killed throughout your history. You never came, you never left, you'll never come to be. You're just who you are before the day that you were born. And you will be the same the day your friends and loved ones mourn. As people buy new clothes and throw away the old and worn, the soul replaces dead bodies with fresh ones newly born. So we keep coming lifetime after lifetime to basically learn the same lesson. That my eternal relationship is with Krishna, my identity, I'm not this material body. I'm actually a spirit soul who's trying to re-establish my relationship with Krishna. But we keep forgetting, we keep getting entangled in all other things and all the other expectations and everything. We keep coming back, we keep coming back. Slowly, hopefully we learn the lessons. Right?
Yeah, we learn it when we suffer, though, isn't it?
Right.
It's only you really suffer, and then you think, okay, what else is here?
Well, not necessarily. Not everybody learns through suffering. Not everybody. So some people don't learn even through the suffering. Now Krishna says, there are the 4 types of people who go. One category is those who go because of being beaten by life. That's kind of Arjuna now, you see. He's not going there for knowledge. He's just bewildered. Krishna, I'm so confused. I need your help. Please take me as an empty slate and tell me what to do. He's giving himself to Krishna as a disciple. So yeah, so we are studying 14th to 15th verse, and also 16th we did. 14th, 15th, and 16th. If you can read that purports again, they are very beautiful, and read them. And then on Thursday we will again go over this point of decision making. How do I make decisions? How do I go back to the principle before I look into details to make decisions? How do I understand my sense of identity and make right priorities, choosing my options? And then, of course, later on, we'll look into how to know what Krishna wants for us. These verses, next verses. We're going
I won't
slower.
Sorry, I won't be there on Thursday, but I'd really appreciate if you could send me a recording. Because I've tried to look at Facebook, and only your old recordings are there, not any of the new ones.
No, because this new ones are coming on YouTube. I was unable to broadcast it on Facebook for some reason, so I need to organize that.
Okay.
I'll do that. Actually, if you're interested in learning Sanskrit like that, it would be very useful to learn the 14th one, the verses, the Karpanya Dosha, definitely, the 2.7, 2.14 also. Again and again, we can remind ourselves. It's like summer and winter. Yeah, those two verses are. Also number 20, but that's for later to memorize. Okay, anything you want to share? Any other?
Well, we've got Uttara Mataji and Sujata with us.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, please welcome if you have anything.
Hare Krishna. So today the verse was the Matras Prashas to Konte, right? That was the verse.
We did 14.
I don't remember which one. Like.
Yeah, we did
14,
15, and 16. Yes, Matras Prashas to Konte.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And the next and yes.
Well, yesterday I was talking with a friend, and she told me this nice story. I don't know if it's like kind of many people know the story. I never heard it before, and I thought it's just so suitable with this verse. Matras Sparshasta Kunteya. So I will tell you just a quick story. It's just basically like a farmer's horse ran away, and all the people were saying, "Oh, it's so bad, your horse ran away." And he was like, "Oh, not sure, it's for the better or for the worse, and let's see." And then a few days later, the horse comes back with another horse, and then all the people were saying, "Oh, it's so good, the horse came back and brought another horse to you." And he's like, "Well, we will see, for the better or for the worse." And then the new horse, like the farmer's son was riding the new horse, and the horse dropped him down, and his son broke his leg. And then all the people were saying, "Well, so bad, your son broke the leg." And the farmer was saying, "Well, we will see, for the better or for the worse." And then the war started, and all the young men were taken to war, and the farmer's son was like disabled. He had broken legs, so he was left at home. So all the people were saying, "Oh, it's so good, like your son stayed at home." So anyway, in this way we can see that anything what seems to be right, happiness or not happiness, it's like very it really depends, right? We don't even know the bigger plan.
Yeah.
I don't know how accurate I was retelling the story, but I thought it was like really,
Yeah.
really good.
Sentences that are very relevant. So true. I mean, he says basically, people say, "Oh, good luck," and he says, "Good luck, bad luck. Who knows?" So every time is like that. Sometimes we think, or sense perception, "Oh, this is so bad," but good or bad, we don't know. So
Yeah, it's when those people that they miss their flights, and and the flight has gone down, and then they really, oh my God, I would have been on that flight, and I would have been there. So it happened for the good.
I mean, the farmer and the horse one is a perfect story to depict that farmer was so wise. Good luck, bad luck, who knows? People kept changing their perception, right? Based on their knowledge. And then he said, good luck or bad luck, who knows? We'll know only later.
Yeah.
So good luck, bad luck, who knows? Good karma, bad karma, who knows?
Like the youngsters say, whatever.
Yeah. Well, the idea is whatever Krishna wants is good for us. And it's not always something we don't want. It's not that Krishna wants to punish us. Sometimes he gives us what we want and need as well.
Mm.
But especially when things happen which we don't like, we should keep reminding ourselves, good luck or bad luck, who knows? Only Krishna knows.
Yeah.
All right.
That
So with this,
always sorry. It kind of really answers the thing that, just be steady and be happy and steady as much as you can.
Sitoshna Sukha Dukkada. It's like summer and winter, happiness, distress, don't depend on it. Don't depend on those. Don't depend on good luck, bad luck. Just keep connecting to Krishna. Okay, ladies, thank you so much for your attention. And today we end our session on this important meditation of good luck or bad luck, who knows? Krishna knows.
Krishna knows. Thank you.
Thank you and see you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.